Hey there, everybody, and welcome inside the Rockwall Sportscenter Heath Hawk update. I'm Chris Curtis, joined by my partner in crime with the Heath Hawk, Steve Deere. And Steve, we didn't kick off till about just before 10 o'clock on Friday night. It seemed like a night was never going to end. Ended up kicking off. It was a great game, but unfortunately at the last, literally second, Rockwall-Heath fell to Wiley-East 24-21 to open their 2016 campaign. And it was a much different looking Heath Hawk team than we've seen in the past with that offense. Let's just start there. What you think about the new offense?
I think that it is very much a work in progress. What you saw Friday night is not what you're going to see. When you think about a single wing or wildcat or whatever you want to call it, a lot of times people would think, oh, this is old school, this is a very simplified offense, and that is definitely not the case with this offense. You've got players going in different directions, offensive linemen pulling, different offensive linemen trapping, different players going in motion, different directions. It's a very complicated offense, and it is not going to run at peak effectiveness first game of the year. And so what we saw Friday night is just the first rollout, and there's a lot of wrinkles to still iron out. There's a lot of joints to still oil to get this thing going. And I think that what we'll see is in the coming weeks, that will happen. They'll become more effective and more comfortable in the offense. We'll at that point start seeing the coaches add in some more layers and some more wrinkles to it. And what we see once we get to district play here in a couple of weeks will be much more effective and probably a little more fluid and different than what we saw Friday night.
And that's one of the key importance of having this three-game kind of mini stretch preseason in a way to kind of get this offense going and get it. Like you say, it's very complicated to get going. Kind of the purpose of these 3 games here is kind of get this thing in motion before you tackle on 11-6A. It almost seems like he's kind of had the bad end of the stick with last Friday getting rained out. They got moved indoors. This Friday, we weren't even sure they were going to get kickoff in time. So we really haven't had a 7:30 kickoff for Heath this season. It kind of feels like they've gotten the short end of the stick. But, of course, they're going to have those practices and they're going to jump right back in and play Thursday night. So not a lot of time to really just kind of lean back and practice this. It's kind of go, go, go for Heath right now.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk Friday night about moving that to Saturday, actually. And obviously, Coach Moss was very much against that because we do turn around and play again on Thursday night. And so that wasn't really an option. It was touch and go about whether the game was even going to come off. But you're right. It's just very bizarre this time of year, 2 straight Friday nights to have the kind of weather that we have. It's August in North Texas. This isn't supposed to happen. Yet Heath has gotten caught up in it a couple of straight weeks here. Hopefully that's out of the way. I haven't ever seen a Friday night like this past Friday night. If you think back last year, we had a couple of monsoon games. Think about the Royce City game last year where we're standing in 3 inches of water and just trying to get through the game. No lightning in that one. This is the first time I've been a part of a lightning delay like this, going 2.5 hours. Yeah, very bizarre circumstances, but fortunately we were able to get the game in.
And, of course, the bad news is Rockwall-Heath loses on the final second. That's kind of going to be a gut-wrencher for these guys. But if you're going to lose a game like this, let's lose it in August, September, before you start losing them in October, November, December. So kind of talk about the importance of this game as far as losing it. Might make these guys a little hungry.
Well, yeah, and not only that, but let's remember something. Wiley-East is very highly rated coming into this year. They're top 10 in the area, top 25 in the state. There's no shame in losing to this team because they're good. Their defense was very underrated last year, returned almost all of their starters, and we all saw that Friday night. Their defensive front 7 was in our backfield almost the whole time, many times before the snap, as we saw, but very aggressive. They've got an All-American that touched the ball every time the ball was snapped, and then keying on him freed up a couple of their other guys that are very good players in their own right to do some damage. And so no shame in losing to that team. And I think a confidence builder, actually, hanging with them until the very last second. And with a brand-new offense, like we just talked about, still working the wrinkles out. And they were pretty effective against a very, very good team Friday night.
It's our first time to hear from Coach Moss in the 2016 campaign. Let's hear what he has to say about his team's 24-21 loss to Wiley-East.
Well, when you lose, you're not happy. You know, the way we lost there at the end, just that close of a game. But it was a great competitive ball game. A lot of things that we learned, a lot of things that we take away. It was very important to get that first non-district game played and see what we needed to see on film and our players coming back and looking at that on Saturday morning and understanding and realizing, the things that need to be corrected. That was critical. A very good football team. Benjamin was a great player, but I'm very proud of the effort our players gave. We just came up on the short end.
All right, thanks, Coach Moss. And, of course, one of the new things I want to do this year is I want to pick a player that you and I both think deserves to be the player of the game, per se. I'm going to go with Jacorin Jimerson. He was all over the field on Friday night.
To me, the one that really stood out, though, was Towers Fort. Big play after big play, over 100 yards. Made some big plays in the second half and down the stretch to really keep the Hawks in the game and make it as tight as it did. So Towers did great on offense. On defense, Desmond Williams was, he was a stud. He came as advertised. We all know his potential, and he showed it the other night. He was a big part of slowing down not only Benjamin, right? Benjamin, but the other guys on their offense too. He was in the backfield a lot of the night. He was big play, making a lot of tackles. So he stood out to me on defense.
And, of course, Rockwall-Heath turns around really, really quick here. They will play a Thursday night game against West Mesquite, a team they faced last year and beat them by, I believe it was a touchdown last year. It was a good game. They didn't. It's been a while. They have not faced their number one quarterback. They faced number 2 last year. So a new mission for them this year. What do you look for in West Mesquite? And we go from there.
A team that the Hawks should be very familiar with. Played in the same district with them the last couple of years, and I've played them for several years in a row. West Mesquite is known as a team that has athletes, and this is no different. They've got real athletes on their team. I was looking it up over the weekend and even this morning, and Connor Neal is the
Connor, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Cooper. Connor. Connor Neal, coach's son, quarterback. He's got weapons. Their wide receiver core, they've got 2 or 3 guys all go 4-5 or better running the ball. Their top guy expected to be a receiver was running back last year. He runs a 4.5 40. Williams is his name, and he was running back last year. Like I said, they've split him out to wide receiver now. He runs a 4.5 40, and I think that's the slowest of their running backs. So
you can run that too, right? Though, right?
Well, yeah, backwards. So they could fly. Fortunately, that's kind of the strength of our defense too, is we got some guys that can run too. Hawks have had a lot of success against West Mesquite. That we just match up well against them for whatever reason. West Mesquite is a team that's known for airing it out and putting a lot of points on the board and utilizing their athletes. Coach Moss and the defensive coaches have come up with a great game plan the last several years to really slow that down, and Hawks have had a lot of success, and I expect that to happen this week too. Oh, one more thing, kind of mirror image on something with West Mesquite and Heath. West Mesquite started like a dozen sophomores last year. They had a big turnover. We all know about what we've talked about with Heath, so same kind of thing. Those dozen sophomores are now a year older, more experienced, stronger, same as Heath, and so it'll be junior class versus junior class in this one too. We'll see which one has improved the most.
We'll find out, and of course, let's hear from Coach Moss as his team gets ready to face off against the Wranglers of West Mesquite this Thursday night.
Thursday night will be another physical ball game, another game with, it's the most physical team is going to win, and it'll be a challenge for us, but we think we're up to it, and we look forward to getting that W.
All right, Coach Moss, look forward to seeing you this Thursday night. I know a lot of schedules out there do say that Rockwall-Heath plays LD Bell on Friday, then they play West Mesquite at home on Friday. It is a Thursday night game, 7 o'clock against West Mesquite, so we'll definitely post that on the website throughout the week to make sure everybody remembers. Then get out there on Thursday night and cheer on the Rockwall-Heath Hawks against West Mesquite. So any final thoughts on this game as the Hawks look forward to getting their first win of the season?
Yeah, one more thing. Make sure you don't show up over, as you call it, the Wilk on Thursday night. It is at Mesquite Memorial Stadium, so come over there, and if you can't, listen in on us. I expect the Hawks to take what they did Friday night and improve on it. I expect to see the defense to be a little more well-oiled. I'm sorry, the offense to be a little more well-oiled this week, and I think the Hawks will improve on what they did Friday night. Not that they did poorly Friday night. I think, like I said, they showed up well against Wiley East, but I think that we'll see even an improved product Thursday night.
Of course, the Wilk is easier to type on Twitter. It tends to take up all 140 characters for you. So don't forget to follow us on Twitter at RISD Athletics. And, of course, if you want to check out Steve Deere and his crew this Thursday night, it's www.rockwallisd.com. We look forward to seeing everybody out against West Mesquite on Thursday night. And, of course, until then, go Heath Hawks.